It's an interesting situation there, as you were detailing. The mayor coming out, and the first thing she said was that the city was a victim of a terror attack. And then the FBI agent in charge of this investigation firmly saying that this is not a terror attack. So clearly some miscommunication there between the city administration and the FBI now handling the situation, and the refusal to take questions from the media at this time. It's understandable that there is an investigation going on, and there are things that can't be revealed, but the absolute refusal to take questions from the media during the height of a holiday morning when you have thousands of people visiting the town and have questions about what's happening and may be in that 8-block area that they've asked to avoid.
And they simply want to know what's going on.
And now they're told by the superintendent and Kirkpatrick to go have fun today. So this is just an unprecedented situation here in New Orleans, and clearly plenty of questions will need to be asked, not only of the city administration, the NOPD, and now the FBI as well. As we're now learning just minutes ago that there was some sort of an improvised device that Agent Alethea Duncan says needs to be tested to see what its viability would be. So a developing situation here as the city continues to ring in the new year in one of the most tragic ways imaginable.
And we've got the Sugar Bowl today. Thousands of football fans are in town for the Sugar Bowl. Obviously, we've talked about the Super Bowl coming up here in just a few weeks. That is going to be top of mind for everyone. How do we prevent another situation like this from happening again? All right, let's take a look at some video that we've got from earlier today. This is shortly after this incident happened. This was taken from a balcony on Bourbon Street. Now, if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you can see the white pickup truck that plowed through this crowd of people. Again, the police chief calling this a very intentional act, saying this was not a DUI. This was a man trying to run over as many people as he could. That pickup truck made it through the first block of Bourbon, then crashed into a crane. That orange there you see in the middle of your screen, that's a bucket on top of a crane that was placed on Bourbon Street for whatever reason. This truck crashed into the crane. That's what got it to ultimately stop, and the carnage was over. But we know 10 people killed in this horrific, 5 people injured, 26 alone taken to UMC, which is the city's Emergency 1 Trauma Center. 4 people taken to Toro Hospital, 4 went to Ochsner Baptist Uptown, and 1 went to Tulane. So a number of people injured. We also know that most of the people injured were locals down on Bourbon Street celebrating New Year's.
Right. Not that necessarily makes a difference in any way. 35 injured, it doesn't matter where they're from. 10 fatalities, it doesn't matter where they're from. That's 10 people that were here with 300 officers around, and they were killed through an intentional act that, as this person drove at a high rate of speed down down Bourbon Street from Canal Street. And you know, Maddie was talking about the bollards. It's something that we've talked about in the past. In 2017, they were first installed after another terrorist attack that was operated from a vehicle. The city responded. This was a terrorist attack outside of the city. The city responded by paying a bunch of money to put these bollards in place. And since then, over the last several years, people have said that they've rarely ever seen them actually used in the way that they were intended. In this situation, you heard Maddie talking about the bollards, asking if they were engaged. It appears that it may be in the 1 block of Bourbon that isn't protected by those bollards. That first block of Bourbon up to Iberville isn't protected so that people can make that turn onto Iberville and then come back out. From that point forward, Iberville, Bourbon on down towards St. Anne is where those bollards are.
Now, there were barricades up, but those were probably police barricades that are, you know, the ones that are easily movable, that you could kind of just one person
direct crowds.
Exactly, to direct crowds, because the chief said he drove around, this is how she phrased it, the man drove around the barricade. So obviously, yeah, they did not provide any sort of protection on this morning when it was needed. And
look, and to the police department's credit, with 300 officers, you know, dotting the area on every corner of the French Quarter, I'm sure, Kirkpatrick says, quote, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and damage he did. So it's one of those situations, clearly this person, she says, intended very much to hurt people, and unfortunately, that's what happened this morning.
Police obviously not releasing the identity of this man yet and not sharing the intel into how they know that he wanted to hurt as many people as possible and that this is a possible terrorist attack. I mean, obviously they're saying that they found explosive devices in his truck, but have they been able to ID him? Did he have identification on him? Where is he from? Where did this, threat originate? Those are the questions we do not yet have answers to.
And then now
hopefully we'll hear from later today.
Right, and the reports as well is that when police approached him after he crashed into that crane,
Yes.
he opened fire on officers, striking 2 separate officers. So
they're in stable condition.
They're in stable condition. It's unclear the extent of their injuries, but 2 officers shot in this situation. Mass casualty event, more than 10, at least 10 people killed, 35 at minimum injured. You heard the chief talking as well about additional unconfirmed victims that may have showed up at other area hospitals in the area. But again, 26 of the injured people taken to UMC there, just off of Canal Street, the level 1 trauma center, but 26 patients arriving at a hospital at once is a difficult task to handle.
Absolutely. And you also heard the mayor say she's been in contact with the White House because, again, the mayor has framed this as a terrorist attack. Now, she did couch it and say this is still under investigation, but she said she's been in contact with the White House about what transpired this morning. The FBI now taking over the lead as the lead investigative agency on this incident. The lead FBI agent saying they're not quite ready. They are not quite ready to say this is a terrorist
She
attack
said,
just
so
yet.
Cantrell said, quote, "We know the city of New Orleans was impacted by a terrorist attack."
Yeah.
But the agent in charge, Althea Duncan, says, quote, "This is not a terrorist event." So a lot of questions there. Clearly a disconnect between the FBI and the administration. So
I believe they said 11:30 is when they're going to be updating the media and the public.
and then that's going to be at the police headquarters, which is now several blocks away from this scene. But let's keep you there on the scene. We'll go out now live to